Today I'm talking about the 17 to 70 f2.8 from Tamron, which is for the Fujifilm X system, which is what I use, the Fujifilm X-H2S. I believe it's out on the Sony E system as well, but Sony. I believe this is the best travel option at our disposal for Fujifilm X cameras. It is a massive zoom range from 17 to 70 millimeter, which is about a 24 to 105 millimeter equivalent on the full frame, and a constant aperture of f2.8, which is quite bright for that range. I think if you're comparatively wanting something on full frame that is 2.8 in that range, you're going to be spending upwards of $2,500–3,000. So bunch of savings there on the lovely little crop sensor. 67 millimeter thread on the end of it, which is perfect for all the NDs. You'll find that the rest of the Tamron lineup actually use the same, which is really useful, so you can just chuck them on each lens as you need them. Vibration compensation, this lens comes with it. I think it sort of ends up fighting you a bit, and the natural sort of camera movements you have, it will sort of try and correct everything and overcorrect everything. In all honesty, that's all it's trying to do. I don't think this should be used in that capacity at all. I think this is really just for making your shot smoother. So if I'm zoomed in at 70 millimeter and I'm capturing a certain element of something that's happening, and I'm finding that 70 millimeter is quite far in, there's going to be a lot of shake. I've actually assigned a button because of this lens on my camera to turn vibration compensation on and off, or IBIS on the Fuji, because you can't have one without the other, unfortunately. So I now have a button when I'm recording that essentially turns that on or off depending on what I want to do. So if I'm shooting and I'm zooming into 70 millimeter or 105 millimeter, it's quite shaky. I hit a button, it's not shaky anymore. That's the gist of it. I don't really use it for anything other than that, and I think it's really useful for that. It can kind of replace a tripod in a lot of scenarios, and who wants to really carry a tripod around these days? Just quickly talking about the lens optics as well. I'm obviously showing a lot of B-roll of our Europe trip, which was pretty much all captured on this lens. The optical quality of this lens is fantastic. It kind of almost has like a bit of a vintage feel to it for a modern lens, which I wasn't really expecting out of just a modern long range zoom. So the flares are really nice. It's got a nice little bunch of qualities that I was pursuing in a vintage sense, similar to what I do with Fujifilm. f2.8 is nice. There's a few little fringing deals. To get the best performance out of the lens, I would normally stop down to f4, f5.6, and to be honest with you, depth of field is not really my thing these days. I'm going in the way of compression. We're zooming into 50, 70 millimeter on the crop sensor is going to give us heaps of compression, and I can shoot at f4 or f5.6 and still get enough depth of field that I'm not too upset. And I think the cinematic quality these days is actually more a deep focus thing than it is a depth of field thing. I'm curious as to when that's going to be shifted over. Everyone wants a faster aperture these days, everyone wants the craziest depth possible, but in reality the best looking images are most of the time shot at f4, t4, around there anyway. I think I spoke a little bit about the lens creep, which is a little bit unfortunate. If you move the lens around, it's gonna move in and out across the zoom range. It's a little bit annoying. I'm not too fazed by it. It's fine for me. I've been using this across construction, real estate, in corporate headshots, photography and videography, as well as some fashion work as well. And this has never let me down. It's sort of been my main lens now. I purchased it solely for the Europe trip. I looked at my gear and said, I really need something longer, who's gonna, be able to sort of film most of what I needed to capture in Europe. And ever since I got it, it's pretty much been glued to my camera. So I'm really happy with this lens. I think it's a great purchase. I think it's very valuable in your kit. I would definitely recommend it for anyone out there in a travel sense, or even just general work sense. This has essentially replaced my Sigma 18 to 35 because the autofocus performance is better. And to be honest with you, I actually prefer the image out of this more so than the Sigma 18 to 35, which was my previous workhorse. Obviously, you have to take into consideration that the Sigma 18 to 35 was using an adapter, so autofocus performance will be a little bit worse by default, whereas this is native. So we do have to take that into consideration when we're talking about autofocus. Sorry in advance if I've been slightly out of focus this entire time. I'm currently shooting this on my Zeiss Flecticon because I love the look of it, but I am terrible at trying to manual focus myself when I am the only person operating, as well as the fact that the lens is currently stuck wide open. So I need to fix that, and maybe that'll be a future YouTube video, is going down that path of fixing my Zeiss Flecticon. Anyway, I think that's pretty much all for me. I'm running out of battery on things, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.